it's Jacques from Melfab. Today we're going to have a little bit longer video than what we usually do. We would like to talk about how to completely drain a fire apparatus if it has to go out for service, if it has to sit outside for an extended period of time. We want to make sure that you remove the water out of everything. So on every Melfab apparatus there will be a label at the bottom that talks how to completely drain the pump. So if you do choose to run a dry pump in the wintertime, after your call, you would start by opening the master drain at the bottom of your panel. You would remove every cap that's on the pump panel, whether it be a suction, an inlet, or a discharge. You would do the same thing on the other side and on the back of the truck. And then you would open every bleeder. The newer style has a quarter turn bleeders. The old style had a pull valve right underneath, so you'd make sure that they're all open. So right now we haven't gotten any water out of our suction and our inlet because there's a valve in behind. So you would open your valve. Usually you'd get a little bit of water coming out of this one. You'll get some out of this one. As you open more and more items, you're going to see extra water coming out of other orifices, which is normal because you're letting the maximum amount of air into your pump. You'd open every discharge, and sometimes you'll get about a cup of water out of the discharge. That's water that was airlocked behind the valve. So that covers the bulk of the pump panel. The next thing that we would do is run the primer for 5 seconds. If it's an air primer, that takes the water out of the primer. If it's an electric primer, that takes water out of the primer again, but also lubricates the primer with either RV antifreeze or oil, depending on the system that you use. Now, if this truck were to sit outside for an extended period of time, or had to make a long travel for the service, you could take the engine cooler, so you'd open your panel, take the line that's in behind that. There is a drain underneath the engine, and you could put sharp air into this to blow out that line completely. If you had a hose reel on the top of the unit, for example, you'd want to uncoil that hose and drain that hose. You could try to blow that out as well. If this truck was going to sit outside for multiple days or for a super long extended period of time because it's out of service, you could put the plumbing antifreeze in your plumbing. Usually you would try to put it in at the highest point. So if you have a monitor at the top, take the nozzle off and pour RV antifreeze into, so that would go into every orifice of that pump. Now for the body, if you were going to, again, take this truck out, you would dump the load of water, so either through your dump valve or you pump it off. Some departments will just open the tank pump and the butterfly valve and let it run out the side panel. And then to get the last little bit of water, every tank has some form of sump drain on it. So the sump drain would be either a valve on the outside. This department has decided to do a quarter turn ball valve underneath. And then if there's no valve, it'll just be a straight plug. So you would take that plug out, and that will get that last little bit of water underneath your tank. And now you would wait for everything to drain out, and that could take, several minutes, and you would be all set. So while you're traveling, you would keep everything open, your valve and your sump drain, so any remnants of water would work itself out. So for any questions on this, please feel free to call us at 1-800-561-0012.